doesn't have. So we know you've been waiting for a demo. So we're just gonna jump sort of right in. But as some background, I'm Christiana Cromer, although it says that I'm Kevin O'Connell, which is pretty hilarious. So, but no, I'm Christiana. I'm the community manager over here at Descript, and I'm joined by Kevin, our wonderful product specialist. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Christiana.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I don't know what you think about it, but you stayed calm, cool, and collected. So I was,
Well,
yeah,
so
we
did
got
you.
we got
It's
through it.
a worst nightmare scenario, but if I had to do it with anybody, it'd be with the Descript team. So we're
Very true.
good. We're
Very true.
good. But folks, we've got good stuff to cover today. Our friend Kevin here is an expert on Descript, and he's going to give us a scenic tour of the top features and workflows and all that good stuff. To help get you started. We've seen a lot of people in the chat saying, is this recorded? Yes, it is. So this will be here forevermore, evergreen on our channel on YouTube. And yeah, so you can, if you're watching in the future, hello, but you can always return to this as well. YouTube has a chat. Feel free to ask questions in there. We've got some folks behind the scenes that can respond. We've got a Discord. We'll send an invite for that too. But other than that, I think we can kind of jump in and get started.
Let's do it. That sounds
All
great.
right.
We can go a little bit longer than we planned, so it's a full
Perfect.
length the demo. And if folks need to jump at the top of the hour, go for it, and we'll make sure we get you the link to the recording
Totally.
via YouTube. Great.
Perfect. That sounds
Awesome.
great to me. All right, we'll jump in. And once again, so sorry, folks, for the jumping around. Thank you for being flexible and for bearing with us. We're getting our sea legs with these things. So, but yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So for those that haven't had a chance to open the app yet, this is Descript. This is our furthest out view. We call it drive view. And this is your starting place. This is your home. We have a bunch of different shortcuts on the left sidebar. If you are a part of a team, you may have access to multiple drives. But we start with home, which is all the projects you have access to, created by me, obviously projects created by you, shared with you by a collaborator, teammate, and then downloaded projects that are temporarily downloaded to your computer to improve your playback and editing experience. Hopefully at the end of today, we'll have a very brief look at overdub, but if you have time to check out overdub on our help center or on our YouTube channel, definitely do.
Absolutely.
We're going to start in the Drive workspace, which is our collaborative space. If you ever work with other folks on your team, you're able to invite them, work on projects together. You might be invited to a Drive, and you can be added to a Drive in two different ways. One is as a basic member. So if you're adding a colleague, collaborator as a basic member, it's a free seat on your Drive, and they can comment, view, and listen to projects and some exporting capabilities. But think about that as a comment-only role, free role on your Drive. But you can add them as an editor, and that gives them the ability to import, transcribe, edit, export, all the things. So two different ways to organize your Drive. So when we're ready to start working, we're going to start one of a few ways probably. We might be bringing in video from a live stream we did, or maybe we made a video on our phone, or we've been on Riverside recording an interview for our podcast, or maybe we've been out in the field with a local recorder and a microphone and we're tracking some audio. All of these things, all of the ways you capture audio and video are going to work with Descript. You can bring audio and video right in really quickly. Awesome. So the ways we're going to start a new project, and we'll label that project. Make sure it's where you want it to go. In this case, Drive workspace. And this empty workspace opens up for us where we have a couple sidebars, one here, a couple options on this side, a lot of different functions for playing, rewinding, even recording, which we'll get into. And this main content area is where we're going to drag and drop pre-recorded media. So you can always record with Descript. There's a couple different things you can do. We have a built-in screen recorder and webcam recorder. It's amazing. My New Year's resolution this year was to stop writing so many emails, and I started making more screen recordings. So just like walking through myself with a piece of software, or just talking through an idea, whatever it is, and became much more natural and easier to communicate.
It's the best. I do that all the time.
I love it.
Especially like I do it for Slack messages. Like if I'm trying to explain something to my coworker and like really, I can be really verbose in my Slacks. So just doing a quick screen recording has been a game changer. So for anyone looking to use Descript at work, that is I'm plugging that.
Love it.
And also, Kevin, just so you know, and so everybody knows, we are suddenly live on Crowdcast as well. So we've done it against all odds. So if you're on YouTube, it looks like you can, if you prefer Crowdcast, you can hop back over there. But also hang out on YouTube. Both work. But sorry to derail. I just wanted to share that good news with you.
So
there you go.
We did it. Great success.
All's great success. All's well that ends well, I guess. But woo. Okay. Right back to it.
All good. So great. All right. So let's bring some stuff in. All right. Let's start with video. Right. We've made some sort of video. In this case, let's go with we create a video podcast and we publish it to YouTube or anywhere else that we publish, but we want to repurpose that content later on. So we have a finished episode, a finished video, MP4, and we want to bring that into Descript. So what we'll do is we'll get the video file from our computer and just drag and drop it directly into Descript, right into the middle here.
Love it.
Drag and drop, just like that. It's going to start importing, transcribing in the back end, and we get to add our speaker labels. So if you ever have multiple speakers in your video, it'll label it all out, nice color coded and organized, so you know who is speaking when. In this case, it's just one person. That person's name is Julian, and that's all we need to do to get ready in our import process. If you're working on projects in a different language other than English, which I have set, you can configure that in your preferences or change that every time.
Yeah. Early March, we added 22 new languages to Descript that you can transcribe in. So definitely go check that out if you haven't done so already.
So here's our video in Descript. Looking pretty great. So we have this timeline and this script, this transcript, and a video canvas. So these are all linked together. So anything that we do to the text will also happen in both the canvas and the timeline. Anything that we do in the timeline will also happen in the other two, and so forth. So these are all just different representations of our project that we're working on. So the beauty of Descript is you can make edits to the text and it will edit the audio and video for you. So that not only means deleting, or we have a strikeout feature called ignore, which will just make a cut, both of those. You can also cut, copy, and paste stuff around as you'd like to reorder sections, or maybe you would only want to make a small video for Instagram, for instance, from this first paragraph. You can copy and paste that elsewhere, and it'll bring along the audio and video for you. So let's give it a listen and show you what that even looks like, which we'll do more of when we bring in some audio only as well.
You both have had quite the week, and now, well, we back on the podcast, and I know you guys.
So say you have some edits you want to make here, you can choose to outright delete them.
Quite the week, and now we back. And
you can clean them up in the timeline if they're a little bit jumpy, or you can use our strikeout feature, which is called ignore.
Awesome.
And I know you guys, you got a little marble action.
You can see here in the timeline, there's also ways to make some quick edits.
I know you guys got a little marble action.
The reason I like strikeout, especially if I'm working on a team, is ignore, is if I want to bring something back real quick, an edit that I made or an edit that a teammate made, I can see what was removed and just unignore it, and it brings the audio and video back in, which is so great.
Awesome. Cool. Do you think this would be a good moment to show off the transcription wizard or the correction wizard or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Descript's transcription is about 95% accurate, depending on audio quality. But you can get that up even higher by going to the wrench icon at the top and clicking Detect Transcription Errors. This will put our media through another round of transcription. It has those two results and it compares them. And it says, okay, here's a couple areas or a few areas that we think we got it wrong. And it'll bring us through this really great little module to listen to sections, make corrections, accept the corrections, or just accept that it was right in the first place.
Right.
And this gets us from like 95% to like 98, 99, just by going through a quick, like few minute process.
Totally. Yeah. That's what I use when I upload my audio, because I'll notice that I will get really nitpicky when I go line by line. And I'll do that anyway, because sometimes I can be a perfectionist, but doing the wizard first just kind of gets me to this baseline where I can move through my transcription a lot faster. So
that makes sense.
Definitely recommend.
Sense. Especially if we're going to like use captions in the end, we want it to be as accurate as possible, if not
exactly.
Completely.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so we saw these blue underlines earlier, which means Descript has identified those as filler words, which we'll show you in a little bit. But the green underlines that just showed up are from the correction wizard. So if I right click one of those and go to start correction.
We needed some Iggy action this week, especially
Iggy action. That's the name of Julian's dog. So I'm going to accept that and just press return.
G's, which we'll get into.
That is G's, not GS. You just make the correction by starting a type and press return again to accept.
Get munchin' and crunchin'.
Munchin' and crunchin'. You can go through the whole project. It takes, for like a half an hour video or piece of audio, it just takes me like a few minutes to just quickly go through. Super, super helpful.
Awesome.
Sweet. And then as you're working, two ways to just quickly make little corrections is you can see Julian's name is spelled incorrectly here. I can go to correct and toggle correct and just change it real quick. Or I can also go into correct text mode, which transforms it into a word processor. So I can only be correcting the transcript and not be correcting the audio or affecting the audio or video by making changes to the text. You can see there's that green box and this green X, and to get out of it, boom, click that X again.
Awesome.
With all of that said, these are all things that happen after transcription to set yourself up for just success in general.
Right.
Click the Descript D in the top left corner and go to the Transcription Glossary. Here is where you can add names and keywords and company names and all that kind of stuff, things that are maybe not transcribed as consistently as other words.
Right.
And copy and paste them in, and Descript will keep an eye out for words that look and sound like those. So to get them right when they transcribe.
Totally. And it's important to know that this transcription glossary will connect to all of your projects in your team drive. So you do not need to make a new glossary for every single project. This will live across your stuff. So say you have a podcast where you're using a lot of the same jargon, or you're using this at work and you have specific things you're talking about, you're good to go. Just add it once.
You got it.
Cool. Also for folks in the chat, I see lots of questions. Just a reminder, at the bottom of Crowdcast, you have the Ask a Question feature, and we've got some team members that will answer those in there, and we'll save some time at the end for Kevin to answer a few live.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right, so that encompasses our bringing in a single video file, right?
Right.
Say we want to move. We'll get into editing because there'll be a crossover between audio and video, but we want to move this section into another doc, which we call compositions. You can always cut or copy and paste it into a new one real easily, or go to add new. that creates a blank doc. You can drop it in just like that. And now you have a video separate from the main video. You can also quickly click the paperclip up here or use that keyboard shortcut and clip it to a new composition on the side or an existing one. So you can create selects or pull from different videos that you've brought in. It's really awesome.
Right.
Or you can copy or highlight some sections and then copy those highlights. So you can create a nice color code, say, okay, this is looking good. These are the sections that I want to keep and pull out, maybe yellows for TikTok and greens for Instagram, something like that. Wrench icon, copy highlights. You can do one of them or all of them. Copies it to clipboard, and then you just go in and paste it where you'd like it to go. And now you have all of that dropped in.
I love that.
Cool. Should we bring in some audio and show maybe some of the kind of parallels between what audio looks like by itself?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. So same process that we did in the beginning. We're going to have a new composition. You can always bring audio or video into an existing composition, but for me personally and a lot of the folks that we work with, it's nice to have a version of your audio or video untouched in your project. And then as you make edits or you want to make different versions, whatnot, you can right click and duplicate it and say, this one might be, Kevin's edit version 1, something like that.
Right.
All right, let's make that. We have a new composition here. I'm right clicking the sidebar. You can also go to add new. And let's drop it in. Some audio files from my computer from an interview. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop 2 audio files in together. So these are recorded on Riverside. Check out riverside.fm if you haven't. They're a great platform for remote recording. Also, our friends at Squadcast are also another great recording platform for anyone that's doing remote podcast interviews, all that. So you can drop those 2 files in together, and it's going to combine them into a multi-track sequence, which is a very, very cool thing that allows you all of our editing with multi-track. So I'm going to add my speaker labels again. Bing. See here, it's going to combine those 2 into that sequence. And that allows us to see one script and one timeline on our first view, but under the hood, we can always see the multi-track sequence, which is the multi-track view, both tracks laid out separately. So if we have crosstalk or background noise or anything like that, we can remove it.
Cool.
Just note, this also works with video. So if you do a video interview, bring in those 2 files, just like that.
Sweet.
Cool. So we have our exact same as our video, but obviously we have no video canvas because there's no visual elements. But if you double click anywhere in the timeline down here, we can see our sequence view like that.
Beautiful.
Let's go back. I'm going to do that process one more time because it's a pretty common question. It's like, how do we make that sequence?
Right.
We're making a new composition. We are grabbing a couple files. That we recorded. Now these files do need to be synced before coming into Descript. So that's why we like using Squadcast or Riverside, because when you press record, it starts the recording for everybody. When you stop the recording, it stops it for everybody.
Right.
If we were recording and we had a Zoom call between Christiana and I was recording with my voice memo app on my phone, and Christiana was recording with GarageBand. We have different start times and different end times, different lengths. So if we try to bring those in together, they wouldn't sync exactly right. So we want to make sure those files are synced before we come into Descript.
Sweet.
So dropping those 2 files in. These ones were recorded, I think, on Zoom. And if you don't know, in your recording preferences in Zoom, you can record multiple tracks. So 1 file for each participant. Label these correctly. Again, multi-track sequence, and then we're done.
Sweet.
Cool. So new composition, drag and drop your files in. That's it. You're ready to go.
Cool. Cool. And somebody in the chat asked, is this for post-production or live streaming? So this would be for post-production when you're editing up your content.
Yeah. This is like Christiana and I just finished our interview. We download those files and drop them into Descript to start editing.
Exactly. But say you have a live stream like this, and you maybe wanted to edit out the first 10 minutes where you were
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know, jumping between, live troubleshooting. What we could do and what we might do is upload that file to Descript and edit it however you'd like, take little clips for social media as you would, and yeah, do that process. So happy to fix up any sort of live streams that you want to do in Descript. It's a good use case. So great question.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Cool.
All right. So we have some interviews in here. We have our multi-track sequence, right? We right-clicked in the timeline to edit the sequence, or we just double-clicked to see those two files in the back end. A great opportunity to remove some crosstalk. So when we're editing, we know if anyone's ever recorded an interview or worked on a podcast, there's just like always crosstalk.
Right.
So let's listen to this real quick.
What is this? A microphone? It's like a gamer headset.
Yes.
But it looks like hot. It is kind of hot. It's like hot.
Okay, cool. So there's some crosstalk here. You can see there's one right here that we want to maybe pull out, which is just an interruption, like a little blip in. So I'm going to use my range tool, which is right up here. I'm going to select the thing I want to move or delete. In this case, I'm going to delete it, pull it right out.
Beautiful.
And then I also want to take this first sentence and make it sound a little bit more conversational. So I'm going to take this little section, move it over here. Give it a listen.
What is this? A microphone? It's like a gamer headset. It looks hot. But it looks like it is kind of hot.
Cool. And then we have a little response there that I also want to remove. So I might take that out and then go back and finish by fixing the timing in my composition. So we went from this like crosstalk, awkward interruption, it wasn't really working, to a sentence, a reaction, and then a re-reaction. So we have the ability to move things around independently from the rest of the conversation. So you can see that the rest of the sync of the two files stayed intact because I used the range tool, selected a little section, and removed it. It didn't affect anything else, just like that.
Beautiful. Cool. Kevin, could you show us how to get here again from the original text-based transcript? Because I think sometimes when there's a lot of new users on the call and you dump your stuff in there and you're like, okay, how do I get to all these different areas? So could you just show us that again really quick?
Absolutely. Yeah. So catching back up, we've created a new composition or project. We've dropped a couple files in from an interview, and this is what it looks like at that point. And then we can right click in the timeline and go to edit sequence. Or even quicker, we can double click anywhere in the timeline and it'll bring us to the sequence.
Beautiful.
Like that. And then we're there.
Cool.
I really love the double click because it's like when I'm working and I find an area with crosstalk, if I double click on the section that has that crosstalk, it's going to bring me right there. So it says, yeah, we lived together for, here we go, I'm going to double click right there.
Yeah, we lived together for 3 months.
And then we are brought right to that section so we can start to edit quickly and then just move back.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Kevin.
Oh, yeah. All right. We should talk about some filler words, eh?
Let's do it.
Okay. So this is a good one. So we all have worked, not all of us, but we've all heard an interview that has had a lot of filler words, a lot of uhs or ums, you knows, everything. At Descript, we make it easy to identify those and remove them quickly, and also allow you to bring them back in if you want to, in case you want to feel a little bit more natural, more human, whichever it might be.
Right.
Click on the wrench icon, our trusty wrench, go to remove filler words. This allows you to search in the composition for filler words. And you can click all or some of these in this list. Now I'm on a pro plan, so I have an expanded list of filler words. If I had a creator plan's a little bit smaller, shorter list, and free, this feature doesn't exist. So definitely worth checking out the pro trial. So we have, let's go with us, ums, you knows, repeated words. I think that's good. Yeah. Oh yeah, we got a bunch. Look at all these. So you can always go through and listen to them, audition them if you want to. But what I'm going to do real quick is just ignore all of them. I'm going to use that strikeout feature again so I can see which ones have been removed. And then apply to all. So now in my script, you see all of these filler words removed. Let's give it a listen real quick.
But yeah, let's just. How's it in Mississippi?
Oh, a little jumpy there. Let's try it again.
But yeah, let's just start with I'm Andrew Bird. This is my friend Jimbo Mathis. We've known each other for 25 years.
All right. So some of those are going to be really crucial to this interview. You know, this first one I'm going to bring back in because I think that edit was a little bit jumpy.
But yeah, let's just start with I'm Andrew Bird.
And then I can go in the timeline and maybe adjust some of the pacing here if I wanted to.
But yeah, let's just start with I'm Andrew Bird. This is my friend Jimbo Mathis.
Boom, and we're in there just like that. So having these in the script just allows us to identify them so easily. If I click on it, also the playhead in the timeline is going to move there so I know what edit point I'm working with. And I can just bring them back and try them out however I'd like, just by selecting them and ignoring them or unignoring them.
Beautiful.
Great example too. Hover over any tool or any button in Descript and you'll see the keyboard shortcut specific to your machine. So I'm on a Mac, you'll see Command Backspace or Command Delete is ignore. So that's one of my most used shortcuts in Descript.
Cool. So with the filler words, you have the option to either just delete them right away or do what Kevin just did, which is you ignore them and then you can pick and choose the ones you want to keep or not.
Mm-hmm. If I delete them all, here's what I got.
But yeah, let's just start with I'm Andrew Bird.
I have all these edit points, but I just have no idea what was said there. So after I'm removing filler words, maybe removing some word gaps, and also making edits to the conversation, I find I'm often in a place where I'm like, what did I delete here? Why is this jumpy? What can I do to make this smoother? So
Totally.
Using ignore, I can just see the whole conversation while also working on the edit, which is so nice.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So we've talked a little bit about timeline editing, but I think we should talk about it a little bit more because I feel like most audio and video editing platforms make editing a little bit more challenging, but especially in this waveform view where there's just a lot of tools, a lot going on. Sometimes it's very finicky or sensitive to small changes. I feel like that Descript just lays out the timeline in a really nice way. It looks really good, but also it's a simple way of editing. So let's check this out.
Yeah, let's just start with I'm Andrew Bird.
You can always expand or collapse these edit points. So Descript is completely non-destructive. Every edit that we make just cuts out that word and then it's like having two pieces of paper put together. But on the back end, you can always extend and see what was there before.
Nice.
Same direction. So you can always adjust your edits a little bit by hovering over the edit point right here and using that. If you want to smooth out that edit, you can click and drag the crossfade tab. It's a little blue tab right here to create a crossfade and smooth out an edit point. You can use the range tool to just select sections and delete them. I use this all the time when there's awkward pauses or just longer pauses that I want. And the other way, if I ever wanted to click and drag these word tabs, I can do the same thing, remove some pacing, move the timeline left to close up that gap. But what's very cool is I can click and drag it to the right, and this will add AI generated room tone to that clip. So this clip right now has room tone on it, which analyzes the background noise from each speaker, each track that we have. So you can see that one of them,
25 years.
yeah, Jimbo's audio has definitely got like an air conditioner or a heating system going on in the background. So what that's going to do is analyze the sound of that heating system and apply it to the gap clip. So it makes it sound like they just stopped talking in the middle of the conversation. So there's no awkward jump of an edit.
Nice.
You can always turn that off and on by clicking the clip inspector up here in the top right corner. By going there.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that feature so much. All right. The last thing in the timeline, we talked about crossfades, but we can also add some fade ins and fade outs. And this is especially going to be useful when we add music or a stock intro or anything like that. So these tabs exist at the boundary of every clip, and we can create little fade ins. But if I have music that I've dropped in, so for instance, let's say I want to add some intro music, I might click and drag my word tab again to create some space in the beginning. Right, so we're just clicking and dragging that to the right. Whoops. And now I have a few seconds of, in this case, room tone. I'm going to make this silent by turning the room tone off. Have some space in the beginning, and then I'm going to drop in some music. So you can see, it may not be obvious, but there are two timelines in Descript. One we call the pin track, and the other is the script track. So the script is this main timeline down here, color-coded with speaker labels. It's linked to the text. We also have this overlay track, which we call the pin track, which is where you might add B-roll video, images, both for video projects, music, pre-stocked intros that you already have, all that kind of stuff. So I can just drag and drop my music track. I'm gonna take this from my computer again, and I'm just going to drag it in. I'm going to put it in this dark gray area over the script track, and I can put it anywhere I want. In this case, I'm going to put it right at the beginning because I want to treat it like intro music. So I just drop that in, and you can see I have this on music track for 3 minutes over my podcast. I don't want this is just my intro music. So I'll go up to one of my edit tools. In this case, I'll use Blade, and I can make a quick cut. I want it to stop, so I can say, okay, by the time I get here, let's have my music stop. And then I'll go back to the select and grab the section that I don't want, this whole second part of the music, and I'll just select it and press delete. So now I have a little clip of my intro music at the beginning that I can add one of those nice fades to like I did earlier.
Nice.
Yeah. So here we go.
Okie dokie.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
And then they're in their interview. Just like
Love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great. We actually just wrote a newsletter as well. Our managing editor wrote a newsletter about adding music to your podcast from a craft side. So if you're interested in that, go check out. It's on our blog.
Oh, cool. I think I have a couple quotes in that.
Oh, I plugged Kevin without even realizing it. Look at that.
Looking
Wow.
for quotes for your blog,
Kevin does quotes, everybody. He does
quotes.
live demos. He does quotes.
Oh, I love it.
Cool. Also, just a reminder, folks, since we started a little late, we'll go a little bit later. And if you have to hop off right at the hour, don't worry about it. This is recorded. We'll send the recording out when it's over, so you won't miss anything.
For sure. A common question when we're talking about music too and all this stuff is, how do we adjust parameters of music. So we can do fades and all that here visually, but how do we adjust the volume or maybe the speed if we wanted to speed up a visual clip, especially B-roll, anything like that? So clicking the track inspector, the clip inspector up here in the top right-hand corner after we have a clip selected, in this case music, clip inspector, and now we can change the volume if we wanted to.
Nice.
We can change the clip speed if we wanted to. This is probably going to sound wild.
Okie dokie.
If you want to make some really ambient intro music.
Right.
But you can change all aspects of video and audio right there. You can also add effects too if you want to get creative and maybe add a creative effect or an EQ or compressor, anything like that. Really helpful to clean up your audio.
Awesome.
Cool. Any questions, Christiana, that are relevant to where we are now, do you think? In the question.
Well, two things. One's not super relevant, but when you showed the adjusting the time of the clip, could you just pop up really quick and show us how to adjust the time of the speed of playback in general in Descript?
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just want to increase your playback speed for everything, just playback in general, you click playback speed adjustment up here at the top of your screen and
Beautiful.
Do that here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, awesome. And then you talked a little bit about cleaning up audio. I don't know if this would be a good time to do a brief intro to studio sound or just mention it.
Sure. Sounds
Let's
great.
do it.
Let's do it. All right. So studio sound is our voice enhancement feature. In a nutshell, we're removing background noise, removing room reverb and echo, like the sound of a space. Think about somebody sitting in like a kitchen and the sound that's bouncing off all those hard surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps the audio sound like you're closer to the microphone and not, too far away.
Right.
So wildly helpful, especially in today's age of remote recording. So we want to get to the files. So there's a couple different ways to do that, but the tried and true way is on the sidebar, your project files here. You can click any of them and toggle on studio sound. While you're working, there's a couple different ways too. So say we're back in that project, we want to get there really quick. We might double click on the timeline to go to our sequence. And now we have access to each of these files as well. And we can go, boom. Let's add studio sound for Andrew by clicking add effect.
Cool.
And then let's add studio sound for Jimbo by doing the same thing. And this will process. So we have an on and off switch and an intensity dial. On and off, obviously, studio sound on, studio sound off. But the intensity dial allows us to dial in how much studio sound processing we want to have going on.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 100% is just a little bit too much. Maybe you just need to pepper it in. Or maybe sometimes 50% isn't enough. So it defaults to 100 and then you can dial it in from there. But let's give this a listen, and I think y'all are going to love this. So let me turn it off real quick and we'll listen to this audio again.
Should start with how we met, I suppose.
Yeah. And where are you now, Andrew?
I'm in Ojai, California.
You're in Ojai. How's the
And
weather?
you're in. It's
cool. So studio sound going back on for both tracks. And here we go.
Should start with how we met, I suppose.
Yeah. And where are you now, Andrew?
I'm in Ojai, California.
You're in Ojai.
Wow.
Just like that. Yeah.
That's pretty nuts. I hear that all the time and it still gets me.
Yep. And if you want
So
to adjust the intensity, you can do that by selecting the track and moving this around to get it to your preferred listening. But the simplicity of use is just pretty wild here. And it can take some pretty troubling audio and make it sound great. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Cool.
Cool. And of course, that was a quick overview, and we're running through all these different features. So if you need additional support, you have additional questions, you can always live chat or submit a ticket to our support team. Yep, right down there. We've got a great team, and they're so willing to jump in and explain some of this stuff in deeper detail. So. And Kevin's showing you how to get to the live chat. So
Yeah,
click
click
that
the
little button.
question mark in the bottom right hand corner
Mm-hmm.
and contact us. Just like
Beautiful. Just like that. Yes. And we also have a Discord. So if you want to, you can also chat with our team there, or chat with other users and get help from other creators. You can join our Discord, and we'll send that link in the chat as well. And for anybody that is experiencing a frozen crowdcast, just hit that reload button. Sometimes that happens. So, but yeah, all right.
Cool. Let's real quick talk about recording into Descript, and then maybe we can jump back to more video features. Does that sound good?
Cool.
All right. So you can record for audio only. We can record directly in. So when you have a composition project open, you can adjust your settings here, check your input, add a speaker label. Maybe it's Kevin. I'm the host of this podcast here. And you can also have studio sound on or off if you want. Let's turn it on. And actually, turn it off so we don't wait for the process. So when you start recording, it's going to drop the audio directly into the section that you've selected. And it will even transcribe live for you while you're going, so you can edit as you go. So there's my audio that I just dropped in. I can decide to edit if I want to, and it keeps on going. So awesome for VO or narration or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just be able to throw in audio. I won't be able to demo it because of our screen sharing options on this platform, but our built-in screen recorder is also amazing. You can, actually, let me see if this is, no. So if you're on a Mac, let me go back one. So if you go back to your drive and create new, you can create one from here. If you're on Mac, a menu will pop up on the top of your screen. If you're on a PC, it'll pop up at the bottom. But you'll be able to adjust your settings for camera input, decide if you want to record your computer sound, record your mic. It's amazing. So screen recording, you can select a section of your screen or do it full screen, or you can do a webcam, which would just be the angle from your webcam and your audio input.
Beautiful.
Cool. All right. Let's get into some more video stuff. So we just released a couple months ago now some very cool video features. If you've maybe heard in the past, we've always had the ability to export audiograms, which give us a nice template to choose from. We can change the colors, design, all that stuff. Very nice, but it's limited to those templates and to those designs. With our video, especially our social video stuff, we can first off transform any audio project into video by adding in a video element. But if we want to, we can add captions. We can add, because we're using transcript, captions, waveform. We can add progress bars, shapes and images and B-roll and all of those things to help make it pop. So
Awesome.
if this is our clip for social and we want to put this out, we can select all the text if we want an element to last from the start to the finish. So something like captions, we want those to go all the way through. So I'll go Command or Control A to select all the text, or just highlight it all. And then I'll use our favorite shortcut, which is called the conductor. It is Command or Control K. And That allows us to tell Descript to do something. Whether you're searching for something, you want to remove a bunch of stuff, you want to add an element, whatever it is. So in this case, we'll go captions. And now I have captions dropped into this whole video.
Welcome back to the podcast. I am Julian.
Same thing. Go and adjust my parameters if I want to. Custom fonts. Just change the style if I want the text to be dynamic. I can add my font from my computer, from Google. It's amazing. I really love the word level animation. I add a little playhead color here to follow along.
Julian. Here with me today, I have my two.
Just like that.
Love
All right,
it.
So, boom, captions. We can also do the same thing, Command or Control A to select all, Command or Control K to pull up the conductor, and then we can add something else. Christiana, what should we add to this?
Let's do a waveform.
Waveform, nice. The classic audiogram waveform. Same thing, we can go into our parameters here and change them if we'd like. Decide where we want it to go. Maybe we want to make this video a little smaller, or maybe we want to change the orientation of it by clicking this box up here.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Peach sharing the table with me. What an honor it is to have you two here. You both have had quite the week. And now, well,
Looking pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to highlight too what Kevin just did, changing the aspect ratio. So say you want to post one of these to TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Those are 3 different aspect ratios that you need, right? So you can create 3 separate, you can start with your first one and clip the composition and then make a separate social video for every single platform that you need it for, with pretty simple with just that orientation change. So something I do all the time when I do Descript social media. So definitely attest
Follow
to
us on
that.
social media.
Yeah, subtle plug at Descript_app on Twitter. But yeah, just had to highlight that one.
Love it. So cool. What else? We have our waveform. We could throw in maybe a logo. So same thing, I could select all the text. Instead of using Command or Control K for the conductor that we've been doing, we can just drag and drop stuff right in. So in this case, I want this image to last the whole video because I'm going to put it in like the top corner as a logo. So I'll go to my image files on my computer, find the right one, and then I'll just drop it in on my selection. Resize it. Put it where I want it to go. Boom. And now I have the Descript logo on the top of this video for the whole thing.
Sweet. Some folks are asking about some of the changes you've made. So can you show again how you changed the colors of maybe the captions?
Sure. Yeah. Definitely is a great plug for our learning rail down here. Checking out some of our videos in this pane, but also check out the YouTube page. Lara, who's here, is an amazing video creator and made all these Descript tips that are just like quick couple-minute videos that teach you 1, 2, 3 things to do in Descript, and it's amazing. So it's a great social one. But the clip inspector, we'll always come back to the clip inspector. Every time we want to change any aspect of anything we have selected in Descript, it's likely going to live in the clip inspector. So you make that selection somewhere in the timeline or in the overlaid pin track here. You can see all these. I have logo, captions, waveform. And when I select one of them here or in the script, I can make those changes. So if I wanted to change the waveform to be a different color, for instance, do that here. If I wanted to change captions, I select captions, and then I go down. Maybe I change the fill color to be a yellow of some kind, and then this playback marker, which is a word level animation, I could change that as well if I want it to be a different color.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Dink,
Now it looks like that.
dink.
I love the waveform too because you can choose a bunch of different styles. So you can have this wave, but you can also have lines that pop up and down.
I have Peach sharing the table with me. What? You both have had quite the week, and now
Adjust
well,
the fidelity, and
we back.
It's very cool. I love
Totally.
the waveform feature. Same thing for adding a progress bar, or if you wanted to add a rectangle to make a lower thirds, or a text box, same thing. You just select the section that you want to last. Command or Control K. Pop it in. Now we have a text box that we could put where we want.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, and Kevin mentioned the Descript tips earlier. There's a whole playlist dedicated to all of the things you can do in social video. So if you want to spend, it probably won't take you more than 20 minutes or so. Just watch all of those, and you'll be able to start promoting your podcast in no time, or doing whatever you need to do in social videos. So yeah, big shout out to Laura and Tiff for making those awesome mini tutorials.
For sure.
Cool.
What else? Any questions that we can hit while we're right here?
Let's see. Somebody asked, can you add Oh wait, this is a great question. So say you actually just have a video that has no sound. Say it's just a video that you've taken randomly, you're not talking, it's B-roll, say. Can you add a voiceover to that? And would that be possible? Somebody asked that.
Ooh, great question. This is a deeper workflow, but we should do it. Why not?
Why not?
So here's how I would do that. There are a couple different ways to do a lot of things in Descript, which makes it great to learn because you can learn at your style. But the way I've done voiceover stuff is, for instance, I bring this video file in. I want to turn the volume all the way down. In this case, I'll use this that has audio, but let's say it didn't have any audio. And now we have this video by itself, right? It's just a video that I could voice over if I wanted to. So maybe I was making a YouTube channel that did like a VO of what they're saying.
Right.
And I want to be able to watch the video likely and record my audio at the same time. So what I'll do is I'll right click or click the ellipses right here on the composition I have open it in a new window. And now I have two windows of the same video, right? Oh wait, you're not gonna be able to see that because the screen sharing. Well, believe me when I say I have two Descript videos going on right now. It's two Descript windows of the app. But what I really want to do is create a new composition and record my audio. So here I am doing my voiceover over this video. I'll talk for a while. Maybe I do different takes, whatever it might be. But while I'm doing this, I'm watching the video play, either in the other Descript window or on my computer or something like that. Because what I'm going to do in the end is I'm going to combine these into a sequence so I can edit them together. Amazing. So we're going to stop, and I have this recording. It's right here. Let's rename it voiceover. And this is the video that we have is a Chili Piper video. So what I'm going to do, two things. I'm going to create a sequence from these two files. Select them both and create a multi-track sequence from these two files. This is how you pair two files in Descript, so especially VO and video. Create that sequence. So now I have this. Let's do this again. Turn the volume all the way off. And now I have my VO and this video. So here I am doing my voiceover over this video. I'll talk for a while. Maybe I do different takes. Yeah, it's great.
It's like a bad ad lib.
But now I have this sequence, this paired sequence of these two files. So I can make, if I needed to, make any edits here or do any lineup by adjusting the sync. But when I'm ready, I'll right click the sequence here that I just made, which is called voiceover and chili pepper. Right click, and I will create a composition from that file. So now I have a composition that in the back end has my VO and that video. But in the composition is this really nice script and the video and the timeline, just like that.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for covering that one, Kevin. Could we jump back to the social video feature really quick
Oh yeah, for sure.
for a quick follow-up question? Beautiful. So could you show just once again, somebody asked, how can you have the image show all throughout the full length of the video? So if you wanted to keep, that logo there the whole time, can you show us how to do that again?
Yeah, totally. So when adding it, you just, the best way to do it, I think, is just decide before you add it how long you want it to last. And if you want it to last for the entire video, select all the text in the script, which that selects the whole video.
Cool.
And then you drag and drop your image file directly onto that selection, and it'll automatically extend it or cut it to the selection.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. If by chance you didn't do that though, and you dropped it in a random place without selecting anything, you can always adjust the length by dragging little flag that pops up when your first import, or you can go down in the timeline in the pin track and expand or collapse or move around any of these tracks. So you can have that last for the whole video by going from start to finish, just like that, and then rearrange it how you want.
Love it. I also love you having just an earth on your desktop ready to.
Honestly, if you don't have an earth image, let me know. I can pick you up.
Yeah. An extra feature. I love it. Cool. Perfect. Thank you for answering that.
Of course.
Alrighty. Well, I know we're getting close. We started about 15-20 minutes late and we're about 15-20 minutes over. So I feel like we should probably think about wrapping up unless there was anything else you wanted to talk about.
There's one last thing I would love to talk about, if that's cool.
Let's do it.
So we've talked about getting things into Descript, working in Descript, but how do we get it out into the world? Obviously, we make content to release it. So clicking the share button up here in the top right corner, I can do a bunch of different things in the export window. So here's where I might make a page, cloud exported page, a published page, we call them. That is a web-based player. It looks and feels like Descript. It has a transcript and the video next to it if there's video. It's a really great looking player that you can share with anybody. And this is awesome because we work with people who maybe aren't going to download a new editing platform or just maybe aren't tech savvy or aren't in our organization or a number of reasons.
Right.
I know a lot of folks use this when they want to get approval from podcast guests, that kind of stuff. And it gives us a web-based player on any browser, and you can share the link. This is how you can share your screen recordings as well. Very cool. You can also, we talked about audiograms, and here we have our publishing partners. So if you're exporting straight to YouTube, you can click here. If you're exporting straight to any of our publishing partners in audio and or video, you can see this list. The ones that are grayed out are ones that are audio only. This is a video project, so just note that. And then we have file export, which will download locally to your computer. So text, it's your transcript, really awesome for accessibility to put in your episode notes, anything like that. Subtitles, VTT or SRT for YouTube or Vimeo, any other player. Audio only, classic. If you are publishing to a partner that isn't here yet, you can do audio only, or if you need to export audio. Video file, certainly, and GIFs. Last part is our timeline export. So this is really huge if you're working in another app yourself, or you work with a freelancer of any kind, contractor, or you have someone on your team who is a video editor, audio editor, and uses one of these tools. The beauty of this allows you to extend your workflow and just maybe include more people and include different tools if and when needed. So for instance, my favorite workflow is using Riverside or Squadcast to record a podcast interview, bring it all into Descript, do all of our editing and assembly and get it sounding good, narration. And then we export that composition to Pro Tools or Audition. And it's a non-destructive way to get all of our audio and media and everything that we've edited into those tools and pick up where we left off. So it'll have all of the raw audio, all the edits that we made, multi-track laid out for us. Which is a really great way to continue to work yourself or with other people. And it works for video, for Final Cut, Adobe Premiere. And then we have this EDL export, which works for Samplitude, Reaper, and Hindenburg. Anyone's working on Hindenburg.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And you mentioned the workflow of recording in something like Squadcast, for example. And quick plug, we have a really exciting launch event coming up on June 1st, where we're going to take your workflow even up a notch. So if you come to our event, Record and Create, you're going to get a first look at new workflows that will let you jump into editing in Descript with just one click, whether you're recording in Riverside or Squadcast, like Kevin said, live streaming and restream, or even hosting in Captivate. You'll be able to move back and forth with speed and ease. So definitely join us on June 1st, and we'll link that in the follow-up email to make sure you know where to go.
There's the link in Crowdcast. Love it.
Perfect. Cool.
I want to take a sec to thank you, Christiana, for organizing this event and being a great co-host.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Kevin, for keeping this running smoothly against all odds and showing us this awesome tour. Really appreciate it. And we have got a lot of team members in the back that are so helpful. So Isabel and Laura, Daniel and Harmony in the Ask a Question section, just holding it down. Thank you all so very much. And yeah, just apologies again for the earlier technical difficulties. It definitely was not our favorite way to start off, but we hope that you were still able to learn something. It was so great to spend some time with all of you. And we've got a lot of these coming up. We'll do this more, and we'll cover specific features or workflows. So definitely let us know. Send us a message, to tweet at us, hop into the Discord, and let us know what you would want us to cover. Because I know we covered a lot of ground, and so we're happy to deep dive on some things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll see you all at the June 1st event.
Yes.
Record to Create.
See you there. We'll send a follow-up email with the recording, and we'll send a link to join our Discord. And yeah, just thank you all so much for being here. Kevin, you're the best. Thank you for this, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks so much.
See y'all soon.
All right. Bye.